came from a parent, it's a mom, who has a teenager. And if you're watching and you're someone who has a young child and you're like, oh, that has nothing to do with me, I want you to just stay with me for a moment, because this is going to be you one day. And the older your child gets and all the different, phases that they go through developmentally, you're going to feel this, what I'm about to talk about, in a really profound way, in a different way. So it's important to notice that your parenthood journey might mirror someone else's who has a child who's in there. So what this parent was asking about was, she happens to be a parent who is like a very present mom. She did everything for her child. She, I think, made everything from their food to taking them to school to taking them to all sorts of different activities. And now the teenager has grown older and is now having a preference. The preference is to be with dad, because dad is the cool one. Dad is the more laid back one. Dad is the one that gets her. And this mom, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, is feeling really, really bad about it. I hear a lot of this from parents, whether it's moms or dads. I hear a lot of parents often say, I used to be such a present figure in my child's life, and now my child doesn't seem to feel I'm relevant or seem to really want to be around me, and they prefer the other parent. And so what ends up happening is these parents become resentful of their partner or their, co-parent, because they're like, hey, wait a minute, you weren't really present, or you didn't really do that much. You were working all the time, and now they prefer you over me? What is that about? And the other part of that is a lot of parents who are very present in their children's lives often dedicate their lives to their children, right? This might be you. You might know someone like this, right? If you're someone like me who loves to work, like I will definitely be a working mom, but there are many people who their job in life is to raise their children. And that is such a profound role to have and to play, where all your eggs, your passion, your blood, your sweat, your tears are in that basket, only to have your children grow up and then all of a sudden not really prefer you. So what's going on there? What's important to realize, and I shared this, response with this mom when she asked it, and I think it's so relevant, is that children go through developmental stages. When they're younger, they definitely need someone who is with them more often, right? We teach our kids to make choices and make decisions in their life through modeling, through doing it with them, through helping them problem solve, from teaching them how to tie their shoelaces, to helping them pack their own lunch for the first time, to dropping them off at school, to, tucking them into bed, to, telling them how things are going to go, to drying their tears and crying with them sometimes. So there's so much that goes into parenting young kids. There's a lot of hands-on work. And children want it, right? Children crave your attention. Children will ask you to play Barbie with you, and they don't even want to play with you. They just want you to sit next to them. Does anyone relate? Right? Like, I've got kids always saying, I want to play dollhouse with you, but they really just want me to sit next to them. Right? And what that is about is children just want to be in your presence. I always tell parents, your presence is your gift. If you can master how to just be, do nothing, that is the biggest gift you can give your kids, right? So when children are young, that's what they want. As they get older and they become more independent, think about wolves in a wolf pack, right? Wolves, when they're a little bit older, they start to create their own wolf pack. It's a very primal, very animalistic, very normal thing. And so when they do that, and children are starting to do that, they don't need you as much. So for parents who are going through their own parenthood journey, they're kind of like, wait a minute, well, what about me, right? They're kind of like, what do I do now? You don't need me? What is this about? And it's kind of dichotomous, isn't it? You want your child to be independent, but you also have this like void and feeling of like, what about me? And, I want to be cool like the other, the developmental stage calls for a backing off of them a little bit, giving them space and giving them room to make their own decisions, to grow, to screw up. I wanted to say the F word, but I want to be respectful of everyone. But yeah, be real, right? To screw up, to, to do things that maybe you wouldn't choose to do, to maybe go out and, be out late, whatever it is that they want to do as teenagers and young adults. And for the parents that are so used to being there and helping make all the decisions and cultivating all of the experiences, to have children all of a sudden not prefer that. I want parents to know it's not that they don't prefer you. It's that they don't prefer that way of parenting anymore. They prefer more of the hands off, be there. I can't tell you how many times teenagers just say, can't my parents just listen? Why do they have to screw everything up by trying to fix it? Just listen, right? They need someone who will listen. They need someone who will see them, hear them, understand them, and then create opportunities to let them have their experiences. When you're someone who is not used to being that, the parent that was maybe the absentee parent, or maybe the parent that just followed your lead, or maybe the parent that's more laid back and doesn't always make all the decisions, that parent might become more preferred because it matches the life stage that that teenager or young adult is in. And so I want to end this question with an offer and a strategy. This is now a parenting strategy. Start to notice your co-parent, or, if you don't have a co-parent and you're a single parent and there's nobody else that they would prefer, they just don't prefer you. Start thinking about, how can I shift my way of being as a parent? So how can I shift my parenting skills and strategies to be more relevant to the stage of life that my child is in? Right? So I want to just say, it's not that you are no longer wanted. You are amazing. They don't know what they would do without you. A lot of kids just love their parents till, so much, they just don't want to be parented in the same way. And so a parenting strategy is, who can you become at this phase of your parenthood journey so that you can speak to your child, the child that you have now? And then the insight about your own parenthood journey, which is separate from your child, is to think about and maybe explore and unpack with a therapist, a coach, a friend, I don't care who it's with, but someone supportive, how much it stinks. Or maybe some of you feel liberated by it. Maybe you're like, you know what? I'm going to give myself permission to actually like the fact that I'm not needed that much. All right, I'm gonna rock this phase, right? I'm gonna live my best life. I don't know, but unpack that with someone, because just doing the parenting strategy of being someone that they want you to be at this stage of their development is not enough. You're gonna start resenting it, and you're gonna start to feel like it's hard work. So I offer to you to explore, just what it's like for you, what that's been like, over the last year or so, to notice that maybe the way that you've been doing things, your kid isn't preferring that much. And maybe it's harder to be a parent to a teenager than it was to a young kiddo that just looked up to you, right? So I think that any parent who has children that are growing, which is every parent, because we just continue to grow, goes through that. And so I appreciate that question.